Hey everyone, it's Miss Joyce. Today we'll be dividing 3-digit by 1-digit whole numbers. Let's start with 254 divided by 2. The first thing we're going to do is represent our dividend, or our starting number, using base 10 blocks. Since there's a 2 in the hundreds place, we're going to draw 2 flats. We see there's a 5 in the tens place, so we're going to draw 5 rods. And there's a 4 in the ones place, so we're going to draw 4 unit cubes. We are dividing by 2, so since our divisor is 2, we're going to draw 2 groups. Let's also set up this problem using the standard algorithm. First, we draw our division symbol over here in the right. Inside of our division symbol, we're going to place the dividend, which is 254. This is the starting number, or the total amount that we're sharing. On the outside is going to go our divisor, which is the total number of groups. In this problem, our divisor is 2. Now that we've set up both of these ways, we're going to start by sharing the biggest place value, which in this case is the hundreds place. So we're going to share the flats, giving each group 1 flat until there's not enough to share evenly. Notice that we're out of flats, so we're going to go ahead and pause on sharing and record it in our standard algorithm. Up here at the top, we're going to place the number of flats in each group. We can see in each group there's 1 flat, so we're going to place the 1 up here. Another way that we can get 1 up here instead of using the base 10 blocks is by asking ourselves, what can we multiply by our divisor 2 to get to 2? Well, we know that 2 times 1 is 2, so that's why a 1 is up here. Now what we're going to do is subtract the total number of flats used. We've shared a total of 2 flats, so we're going to place a 2 underneath here and subtract 2. This shows that we've already shared 2 flats. 2 minus 2 is 0, showing that there are 0 flats left to share. Another way we can get this 2 here is by multiplying 1 flat per group times 2 groups gets us 2 flats shared. Now what we're going to do is share the next biggest place value, which is the rods representing the tens place. We can show that over here by bringing down the next digit, which is the 5. So this 5 represents the 5 rods. Let's share these 5 rods evenly between the 2 groups. Notice we have 1 rod left. We can't share this 1 rod evenly between the 2 groups, so we're going to pause on sharing for right now. Inside each group are 2 rods. So we're going to place a 2 up here in the tens place, since the rods in this problem represent the tens place. Another way that we could get the 2 up here without using the base 10 blocks is by asking ourselves, what can we multiply by our divisor 2 to get closest to 5 without going over? Well, 2 times the 2 up top is 4. That gets us closest to 5 without going over. So we're going to subtract 4. We also got this 4 by sharing 1, 2, 3, 4 rods in all. So we're going to subtract 5 rods minus the 4 rods we shared to get 1 rod left over, which is represented by this 1 rod right here. Notice we said we can't share this 1 rod, but what we can do is rewrite it using unit cubes. 1 rod is the same as 10 unit cubes. So here we have the 10 unit cubes, which represented the rod, and these 4 unit cubes that we already had from our dividend. So we have a total of 14 unit cubes to share. We can represent the 14 unit cubes here by bringing down this next digit 4. This represents the 14 unit cubes that we have to share. Let's go ahead and give each group 1 unit cube at a time until there are no more unit cubes to share. Out of unit cubes to share, we can see each group has a total of 7 unit cubes. So we're going to represent that 7 unit cubes per group up here at the top, 7 unit cubes. Another way we could have gotten this 7 without using the base 10 blocks is by asking ourselves, what can we multiply by our divisor 2 to get closest to 14 without going over? Well, 7 times 2 equals 14. So we're going to be subtracting 14, which is the total number of unit cubes we've shared all together. We can see that 14 minus 14 is 0, and that makes sense since there are 0 unit cubes left to share. And since there are no base 10 blocks left to share, we know we're done dividing. Our answer, or quotient, is at the top here in orange, 127. So the answer is 127. That's also represented here because in each group there is 100, 2 tens, and 7 ones. Let's try one more problem. Here we have 365 divided by 3. First, we're going to represent the dividend, or our starting number, using base 10 blocks. We have 3 hundreds, 6 tens, and 5 ones. We're dividing by our divisor 3, so we need to draw 3 groups. We can also represent this using the standard algorithm. So what we're going to do is draw our division symbol. On the inside is going to go our dividend, which is 365. On the outside is going to go our divisor, which is 3. Now that we have this problem set up in both ways, we're going to start by sharing the biggest place value. In this problem, the biggest place value is the hundreds. So we're going to give each group one flat at a time until we don't have enough to share evenly. We're out of flats, so we know that we're done sharing. We can see that inside each group, there is one flat. So we're going to represent that by the 1 up here. Another way we could have gotten this 1 without using base 10 blocks is by asking ourselves, what can we multiply by our divisor 3 to get closest to 3 without going over? Well, we know that 1 times 3 equals 3. So that gets us closest to our 3 hundredths that we had to share. We're subtracting 3 because we've used a total of 1, 2, 3 flats. When we subtract, we see that there is 0 flats left to share, and we can see that here. There are no flats left to share. We can now go ahead and share the rods. We can see that we have a total of 6 rods to share. We can represent that here by bringing down our next digit, which is the 6. This shows that we have 6 tens, or 6 rods to share. We're going to give each group 1 rod at a time until we don't have enough rods to share evenly. Notice we're out of rods to share. So we're going to pause on sharing and record it in our standard algorithm. Each group has 2 rods in it. So we're going to place 2 up here in the tens place. Another way we could have gotten this 2 without using the base 10 blocks is by asking ourselves, what can we multiply by our divisor 3 to get closest to 6 without going over? Well, we know that 2 times 3 equals 6. So that gets us closest to our 6 tens that we can. We're going to be subtracting 6 here because we've used a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rods. When we subtract 6 minus 6, we have 0 left over. That represents the 0 rods that are left to share. We can see that we'll be sharing the 5 unit cubes that are next. We can represent that by bringing down the next digit, which is the 5, representing those 5 unit cubes. So let's go ahead and share these unit cubes by placing 1 unit cube in each group until we don't have enough to share. So far we placed 1 unit cube in each group. There are 2 unit cubes left, but that's not enough to give all 3 groups another unit cube. So we're going to be paused on sharing for now. We can see that each group has 1 unit cube. So we're going to represent that up here by placing a 1 in the quotient, in the ones place. Another way we could have gotten this 1 without using the base 10 blocks is by asking ourselves, what can we multiply by our divisor 3 to get closest to 5 without going over? Well, we know that 1 times 3 equals 3. If we had put a 2 up here, we would have had 2 times 3, which would have been 6, and that's too big. We don't have 6 unit cubes to share, we only have 5. So we were able to share 3 unit cubes, and that's represented here. 1, 2, 3 unit cubes. So we're going to subtract to see how many unit cubes are left. We can see 5 minus 3 equals 2, which is represented by these 2 unit cubes here. Since the unit cube is representing the smallest place value in this problem, we are going to go ahead and pause on sharing. We are going to write this as our remainder. We can represent remainder with the letter R and then place the number of unit cubes left. So since the 2 is down here, we're going to write the remainder as 2. So our answer, or quotient, is 121 remainder 2. That means inside each group, we have 100, 2 tens, and 1 1, and there are 2 unit cubes or 2 ones left over.